This podcast is part of the Frederick Podcast Network. Learn more at listenfrederick.com.
That's number one. You kind of reset me.
Painful, tender to the touch. May also
Same shoulder length, and the other. Hey, welcome back to the Real Health Podcast with Brandy and Amir. I'm Dr. Amir Rashidian, a chiropractor, and Brandy Rashidian is my other half and the beautiful co-host of this fun and sometimes serious and sometimes not podcast.
Sometimes funny, but our listeners don't always see the funny.
I feel like you're taller than me. I gotta raise my seat a little bit. There we go. I'm taller when we stand. I'm shorter when we sit.
That's truth. You got a short torso, sir.
That's right. The spine doctor has a short spine.
It's part of the reasons he married me.
Yeah.
He liked my long spine.
I like her tall torso. Tall. Yeah, I looked at her blood work the other day. At the very top, it says "sexy female." Of course,
there was no Y.
It was a colon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it said, but I thought it was an I because I guess at 51 my eyes are not as good as they used to be.
Actually, they're better than they used to be. You willed them to be better.
Distance, yeah, but up close, no.
Well, that's for this year then.
It's been a few months where I could use some readers when I'm reading.
Well,
But that's why we got the what are they called? The transition progressive, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Sounds like a political thing. Progressive contacts.
Yeah,
I got contacts on my phone that are progressive people. Is that what we're talking about? Progressive contacts, is that?
They don't work that well all the time.
Well, you got to look down like this. I noticed this is, yeah, if you hold the paper up here, you can't read it well. You got to hold it here and look that way and then look down a little.
Was this a part of what we were supposed to be discussing?
Well, we'll start over. Welcome to the Real Health Podcast with Brandon and Amir, blah, blah. We're brought to you by the Frederick Podcast Network. It can be found by listenfrederick.com, along with YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and everything else.
Everywhere.
So we're grateful that you are joining us, and we do have some serious topics to talk about. But the biggest news, I guess, since last time we recorded, and you're probably watching this a week later or 2 weeks later, but and it's already been a couple weeks, but it's the passing of the late great Charlie Kirk. There was a big memorial for him Sunday.
Yeah.
Which when we're recording this, it was a couple of days ago. Powerful.
Yeah.
It was very powerful. I'm hoping his family felt honored by that. The number of people that showed up. And it made me think of the physiologic response of the body to grief.
Oh my gosh.
Churches got flooded since he passed. People looking for answers. A lot of people are now turning to our Heavenly Father for some comfort, and it's been I don't even know how to explain it. People are using the word revival. To accomplish what he did in his short lifespan is one thing, but to be someone who, after you pass away, things grow exponentially more.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I mean, there's so many people who said, I didn't even know who he was.
Right.
Which is mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
I was listening to his content all the time. We shared his content with our kids.
Yeah.
And to be able to sit and have a conversation with someone honestly. I know there's a lot of people who didn't like some of the things that he said or what he stood for, and that's okay. I think we should feel blessed to live in a country where free speech is one of our God-given rights.
Yeah.
However, that's not what it felt like.
Yeah.
Two
of his
time.
adversaries were Van Jones and Nick Fuentes, and both of them went on record on media saying they really respect him.
Yeah.
Van Jones showed a text message from Charlie. I guess it was a couple days or the day before he was shot, and because they were arguing back and forth, and then he got this really nice, respectful text from Charlie saying, we can agreeably disagree on this. Why don't you come on the show? We'll
Yeah.
sit down and talk. And
Yeah.
and
that's what he was known for,
and
open and honest conversations.
He said, I can't. Yeah, he was just very impressed at what a gentleman he was. I think he embodied, I don't know, the values that are described in the Bible.
Yeah, for sure.
Of loving your enemies, being kind, being caring.
Yeah.
Walking in other people's shoes, going the extra mile.
Yeah. And I think if more clips were shown in context, because that's always the challenge with social media, is that people who maybe weren't as familiar with him maybe saw a few clips not in context. So some people had to really kind of go down some rabbit holes so they could really get to know him. And there were a couple things that I was really impressed with. One clip that surfaced, and I had seen this before, but it was a young lady who was, struggling with her, sexual identity. And he had such a wonderful conversation with her, and he said, and she was asking about drugs and surgeries and was uncertain if that was the route to go for herself. And he said, I'm gonna tell you a viewpoint that many won't share with you. And he spoke so lovingly. I don't even know if I can go through it without getting teary-eyed, but to hear him say, I want you to just learn how to love yourself
the way you were created.
And we need so much. And I loved the idea of him talking to somebody and saying, let's get your mind to acknowledge and accept who you are, what your body is, versus trying to change your body to fit what your mind or brain is telling you. Because we need to look at, we can renew our mind, we can renew how we think. There are ways to do that without destroying the only body we were given.
Yeah, that's good advice for everybody. Not just
no matter what you're doing.
Not just someone struggling with their sexuality, but
struggling
anybody.
with your weight.
Yeah.
Struggling with
how many people? I mean, I can testify to that. I mean, all I look for is flaws when I look at myself.
Yeah, as most of us do.
And I think that's wrong. Why aren't we looking for the good? Why aren't we looking for the positive?
Absolutely. We have to learn to love ourselves.
Why aren't we listening to our husbands when they tell us we're beautiful?
I don't know, women, wives. Why aren't you doing that?
Why aren't we believing the guy? He's the one who should care. Anyways. But yeah, it's pretty tough when it comes to that. And I'm in the bodybuilding world with where we're attending our gym and our new patient base and so on. By the way, one of our patients on Monday said that he spent 30 minutes talking to Charlie Kirk. And he was impressed too. He said, here I am, someone just asking for help and advice. And it was at an event, and people kept coming up and asking to take pictures with him or wanting to talk to him. People way more important than this person. And he said, Charlie would just wave them off and stay focused on me. And he spent 30 minutes just talking to me. And he kept saying, no, this is important. And he was like, go ahead. I know you're busy. You got a lot of people around you. He's like, no, I'm here to talk to you. So
that's impressive.
Of the people who have sat with him, met him, spoken to him, it's really hard to find someone who'd say negative things about him.
Well, I mean, they had to fill 2 stadiums. I mean, they had 2 stadiums that they filled to capacity, and they still had upwards of 100,000 people who had been there since 4 a.m. that had to walk away, that did not make it in.
Yeah.
Like, may we all have that kind of impact.
Millions of streaming sources, and
Yeah.
I really think this is just the beginning,
I hope it's just the beginning.
because his bride Erica is she, they said they called her a force of nature.
No kidding.
I think they're right.
I think so too.
So
There was one video clip of somebody who he said, I didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was before this all happened. And he said, when I heard that, he had been killed the way he did, and he saw people celebrating, which is just disgusting. I don't care. Any loss of life should never be celebrated. And he said he watched, these people celebrating, and he's like, these are supposed to be my people. Like, that's where he leaned. And he said, but when I saw that, I thought he must be worse than Hitler.
Mm.
For people to be celebrating. And he said it made him go down a rabbit hole. And
Yeah.
he said, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You have tissues right behind you.
Thank you. I knew I needed to keep them close. Terry, we need softer tissues at North. But I was just really impressed with the fact that this guy and so many other people are seeing us. And I know it's not as large of a number of people celebrating as what social media makes it seem. Social media makes it seem like the vast majority of people hated him, and that's not the truth. You can tell by who showed up, the sheer numbers at his memorial service. So the fact that it is sending people down these pathways, these conversations, this, all of this content that he's created, and is actually teaching them some more conservative values, teaching people how to have a conversation without being upset. It is okay for us not to all agree. It is not okay for violence to be the end cap to any conversation. Like, we need to be okay having a non-heated conversation. And like he said, agree to disagree. And you can do so with kindness. It does not have to be hateful. There's many people that are not going to agree with many things that we talk about health-wise, and that is okay. But what if there is a person who needed that information,
Right.
and it caused them to go research something further and impacted their lives positively? Like, that's why we do it. We do it for maybe that one person that we can keep off drugs or
I've
out of surgery.
Found that there isn't a single person who is wrong about everything.
Correct.
Most people are wrong about something, and most people are right about something. I don't think there's a single person who's right about everything.
No.
And there's definitely not a single person out there who's wrong about everything. The minute you say this guy was wrong about everything, you're not really looking at it properly.
Correct. And now you're not believable.
Right.
Because you can't do those blanket statements.
Exactly.
It doesn't work.
Exactly.
It doesn't work. So, but hopefully this will continue to open up a greater number of conversations and dialogue. Yeah. And it will lead us back to being willing and open to having these conversations.
Right.
Pay less attention to the rhetoric on social media, and pay more attention to the person next to you.
Yeah.
And have those conversations.
Yeah.
They need to be had.
And look at how kindly they mourned for him. You know, no riots, no violence. During the memorial, was that 5 hours?
It was long.
Worship music and a bunch of speeches from the greatest people, his friends, his co-workers, and then
family,
dignitaries and family. They referred to the killer as young man.
Yeah.
With respect.
Yeah.
Because that's what Charlie would have wanted.
Yeah.
He's a human.
Yeah.
Misguided,
misinformed.
He made a terrible mistake.
Yeah.
And Charlie's wife said, I forgive him. You know, that's the start of healing. Yeah. You know, and a lot of people are mourning. And I think my first response would be, oh, let's go, this is war.
Well, and that was the feeling.
That
Like
was the
that
feeling.
was,
And I'm ashamed of myself for thinking that, because
that's
this
not what God
this is
calls us to.
how Christ would have wanted to fight,
Mhm. Yeah.
by staying true to who he is and what he believed in.
Mhm.
I loved some of the things people said. Ben Carson read the Bible verse, unless a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, others can't grow.
It's true.
And he referred to Charlie as that grain that had to die for millions to rise up. And I like what Bobby Kennedy said. He when his brother passed away, he went to his mother and said, does the hole that they leave inside of you ever get smaller? His mother said, it doesn't get smaller, but you can carry on their values and grow bigger, so that the hole would be proportionally less.
Yeah.
And those were beautiful things. Those are healing words, and people need to heal. Brandy and I were sitting in a press conference when I looked at my phone and it said Charlie Kirk had been shot in the neck. And it was a press conference for the Frederick Flying Cows. We were honored to be invited there, and they mentioned us as the team, chiropractic team, to help them with injuries and so on, and keep them healthy. And so we're sitting in a press conference. They're introducing their new head coach, and it was hard after I saw that. And we were near the end, but after I saw that, I couldn't even concentrate on what they were talking about. I just wanted to know if he's okay. And it's hard to be okay when you're shot in the neck. But now healing needs to happen.
Yeah.
For people, because not everybody was able to mourn at that memorial. Not everybody was able to deal with the and process this.
Yeah.
And I'm not the expert on emotionally processing things. What I do know is how the human body responds to grief. And it's almost like a sympathetic response where you get excited or angry. The physiologic response is the same: cold hands, cold feet, dry eyes, dry mouth, dry skin, dilated pupils, lowered immune system, lowered digestion. So people are grieving, their blood sugar fluctuates all over the place, and as a result, you get forgetfulness. So if this is something that's hurting you and weighing down on your heart, and you're grieving this loss, don't be surprised if you're a little forgetful these days, where you forget where you put your keys, or you walk into the kitchen, you forget why you came into the kitchen.
Right.
That's common. That's people who are deeply grieving experience that. There is such a thing as broken heart syndrome.
Yeah.
Where your heart actually, it's called stress myocarditis, I think, where actually the heart malfunctions from grief, and your hormones are all over the place. Sometimes you're not hungry at all and you don't want to eat, and there are times you overeat. Sleep gets very, very disturbed. Sometimes you have trouble falling asleep because the same thoughts circulate over and over in your brain. You're in a sympathetic overdrive state. Your body thinks you're in fight or flight, and then sometimes all you want to do is sleep, because you're exhausted, because your adrenal glands have burned out and there's no more adrenaline being produced. So just be careful with those things. It can lead to type 2 diabetes, and it can lead to heart disease, and you'll get a lot of infections. You'll get sick a lot. Like, those are people who catch summer colds, is when they're in sympathetic overdrive, because your immune system is lower than what it should be.
Yeah. So let's talk about some things that people can do to overcome some of
Yeah.
those physiological things when they're grieving, because I think that's important.
Yeah, so you just have to protect your sleep, protect your nutrition, and get some exercise. And I would say don't be alone. Get around friends and family, friends and family that you like,
Yes.
and just spend time with people you like spending time with. And
And people who have a positive mindset, because the last thing you want is to to surround yourself with people who constantly entertain negative thoughts, negative, actions. You need to be around people who know how to look at the positive
Yeah.
in hard
Yeah.
situations.
Hey, one very, very important thing is don't hold back the tears.
Yes.
Tears are therapeutic for more than one reason.
It's a toxin release. You release a lot of toxins.
Yeah,
through
so
tears.
there are technically three types of tears. There's the moisturizing tears that just keep your eyes moist so they don't dry out. Then there's the reactive tears, which is where if you're chopping onions or there's smoke, irritates your eyes, tears come to wash the eyes, and if you get dust in your eyes again, you tear up to get that stuff out. But then there's emotional tears, and emotional tears actually have hormones in them. Cortisol can get excreted through that because cortisol levels are going to be high, which is your stress hormone. It can come up, and then tears help excrete those. That's why a lot of people, I talked about how you have trouble falling asleep. Right after they cry, they fall asleep.
Right.
Crying shifts your body out of fight or flight back into parasympathetic, which is rest and repair. And so you're able to rest. So you get, put on some Charlie Kirk videos.
Yeah.
There's 4,700 hours of Charlie Kirk on the internet.
That's just what's been released. I guarantee you they have a vault of hours.
You're
that
not
they
going to
have
run
not
out.
released.
During the memorial, they played, this was just audio, they played a speech he gave to his employees. And it was very, very cool. He sounded like he was a tough boss. He's like, I'm going to hold you guys to a higher standard because that's what they deserve. And we're gonna do great things here.
That's awesome.
And he's like, we're gonna work long hours and long days, but it's worth it. And
that's good leadership.
He did that. He led by example. So you know what? Put on the memorial service. Watch it again. Watch Erica Kirk talking about him. She has 2 great speeches on the internet where she addressed this issue and just I think seeing her mourn the Christian way,
right,
the proper way. Because she's in a lot of pain.
Yeah. Well, and
it can be healing.
It can be. And the opposite of that is we know that when we harbor certain emotions like unforgiveness, anger, like things like that, there is a negative physiological response in the body. And you will get sick more often. Your
100%.
Body will not heal.
100%.
Like those even viruses and stuff can get stored in certain parts of the body, and when you have these like negative emotional responses, they can flare up in the body. So
bacteria can overgrow, because everybody has strep in their throat, but it doesn't overgrow until your immune system drops.
I think if we really can learn how strong that mind-body connection is, I think we would treat our minds and our bodies very differently.
Yeah. Because there's certain thoughts that are just unnecessary.
Yeah.
Counterproductive. It's just incredible. I mean, literally, there is an army of probably 100 million people around the globe that if Erica Kirk had said, let's rise up, let's fight, they would have. And there would be pandemonium.
Right.
But what does she do? She goes, forgive.
So I think we could all be challenged by that and figure out what we're holding on to personally.
Yeah.
Right. Who do we have that we need to forgive?
And don't be surprised if the person you need to forgive is God.
Or yourself.
I know that's a big thing because you're like, why would God need forgiveness? God doesn't do anything wrong. But he'll allow you to experience consequences of your choices and decisions. And sometimes you'll subconsciously or unintentionally hold on to resentment or anger towards him, going, you're the Almighty. Why didn't you stop this?
Yeah.
Why didn't you change it? And we won't know those answers until later. But you'll get the answers.
Right.
Eventually. Everyone does. So how do we boost our immune system? Aside from what we talked about, sleep is the biggest protector of the immune system and your adrenal glands. Supporting the adrenal glands, so glandular adrenal supplements are very good in this stage. And then vitamin D is probably the most important supplement of all time.
Removing as much ultra processed foods out of your diet
Sugar.
and staying with whole foods.
Yeah. And
reducing sugar.
Zinc, calcium,
Melatonin.
Yeah, that's a good one when you, especially for many reasons. And then just a little bit of exercise. But when you're grieving, you want that exercise. Sometimes you need the exercise to burn off pent up energy. You may want to get a punching bag and hit it.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Find your favorite girlfriend or buddy and go for a walk.
Your favorite girlfriend? Oh, you're talking to women.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't want guys to have multiple girlfriends and
Yes.
just pick, hey, you know what? I heard on this podcast, I'm supposed to call my favorite girlfriend. So you're
Since
it.
You're
it.
not it. I need to go find another one. We are not advocating.
I
for
got
that.
these 7 girlfriends, but this one's my favorite.
Hopefully, I'm your favorite girlfriend.
You're
And the only girlfriend.
You're the only one I love, for sure. That's funny.
That's
Yeah,
very funny.
she's talking to women.
Yes.
women,
Girls,
call
grab
it-
your favorite girlfriend, and boys, grab your favorite buddy.
That's
Sorry.
right.
And go for a walk, talk freely.
And laugh. Gosh, laughter is so therapeutic. The Bible talks about laughter being good medicine.
Yeah.
If you watch the memorial for Charlie Kirk, when Donald Trump Jr. came up, the first thing he did was he said, everybody knows I'm not the one to shed tears. And then and he goes, I like to make things light, and I like to make jokes. And he said, sometimes I can be aggressive on social media. And then he impersonated his dad, telling him to cool it on social media. And he had, 60,000 people in that stadium laughing.
That's awesome.
At a time when everyone's mourning. I think that was so good of him to do that. There's nothing wrong with laughter. There's nothing wrong with remembering a funny thing or listening to it. Some people think they're not honoring the memory of the person that died if they refuse to laugh at a joke. If it's funny, laugh.
Yeah.
If it's not funny, laugh at the person, not with them. Laugh at them. It doesn't matter. Laugh.
It's actually a biohack.
Yes, it is.
Like
Yes, it is.
I mean, it is one thing that can change so much of your physiology,
Yeah.
instantly.
Do you know Norman Cousins?
No.
Norman Cousins wrote a book called Anatomy of an Illness.
Hmm.
This guy was diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis. And this is back in the, I don't know when, 1950s. There's a movie about him. I think Glenn Close was in the movie, I think. So anyways, and the actor who played Norman Cousins was famous too. So he has all this pain that's shooting down his legs, and his feet feel like he's standing on shards of glass. Just enormous, constant, unbearable, unrelenting pain. Just, it's constant, no relief whatsoever. And so he's in the hospital, and the doctors finally say, we found out what's going on with you. You have a condition called ankylosing spondylitis, which is where your spine starts to fuse at the pelvis, fuses all the way up the spine. Eventually, the whole thing fuses. And the doctor said, you got to make a decision because you're going to fuse. So you have to decide, do you want to sit in a wheelchair the rest of your life, or do you want to lie in a bed the rest of your life? Because once your spine fuses, you're not getting up. And so it's going to stay where it is. So you're going to be in one position the rest of your life. And he thinks about it. And in the middle of the night, he calls his wife and says, I made my decision. I'm not going to stay in a bed the rest of my life. And I'm not going to sit in a wheelchair the rest of my life. I'm going to walk out of here.
That's so awesome.
So he makes that decision. Then they had projectors back then when they wanted to show movies. So they wheel in a projector into his hospital room, and they have a screen, and they show a Marx Brothers movie. Now, I don't know if any of our audience is old enough to remember the Marx Brothers, but I used to watch all their movies because I loved them. They were hilarious. They're just a comedy. They're like, Jerry Lewis came after the Marx Brothers. You had the Three Stooges, black and white movies. The Marx Brothers were like the Three Stooges, and they were hilarious. Not as slapstick, but pretty funny. And so they're showing a Marx Brothers movie on a projector on the screen in his hospital bed. And Norman Cousins noticed every time he laughed, he didn't feel any pain. So he said, I want to watch Marx Brothers movies 24 hours a day. Just bring in every movie and just play them. So that's what he did. And he kept laughing and laughing and laughing. Every time he laughed, he didn't feel pain. Now, here's something that's fact. When pain goes down, healing starts. So he literally walked out of the hospital room. He healed himself through laughter. Now, he also did high doses of vitamin C. But I don't want to, that's something, depending on the type of vitamin C you use, that can be dangerous. And so if you have a functional medicine doctor in your network of healthcare providers, talk to them about types of vitamin C, doses, all that stuff. But he reduced inflammation in his body with laughter and high doses of vitamin C.
I think all too often we allow doctors or WebMD or whatever it is we're searching to give us a diagnosis, and we take that in as like a final say in our life. And I go, how dangerous that is, because no one has a crystal ball. And what we know, as much as we know about the human body, there are so many aspects of how the human body works, how it was even created. Like, we don't understand it. We don't have the full picture, and I don't think we ever will, because we can't quantify innate intelligence. We can't measure that. We can't necessarily study it. Like,
we can disturb it.
We can disturb it for sure.
We can
do that,
interfere with it,
and we
cannot measure it.
So how many times has a doctor, well-intentioned, not saying somebody is not well-intentioned in doing this, but they give a diagnosis, and based on what they've seen in the past, this is how long you have to live, or this is how long you have until you lose your sight. This is how long you have. And I get so angry when I hear things like that, because I go, do not be the doctor telling me that, because we're going to have a really fun conversation. I'm going to be like, who do you think you are? You do not have a crystal ball.
No one who accepts their fate beats it.
Right.
No one. I don't think it's always and only the people who refuse to accept that make it.
Agreed.
And because there isn't a single disease on the planet that you won't be able to find at least one person who overcame it.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I had pulled a story today. I had seen a short the other day about this woman whose husband had a stroke, and he was having multi-organ, failure. The doctors are like, he's not going to make, the odds are he's not going to make it. And if he does, there's no quality of life. So that's basically what they said to her. And his wife is like, I will not accept that. And so she, being a PT, but she wasn't like a stroke, specialist where she knew everything she was supposed to do to get him back to where he was. But he was really young. He was only 37. And she did not give up. So he didn't give up. Just miraculous. Here's a little
maybe Sean can link the short.
Yeah, I'll send it to you, Sean, because it was so powerful, and you can actually see, all the things that she did with him. But it says, after these past few months have been the most challenging months of my life. I've been less active here because my focus hasn't been on what truly matters, my family. When my husband Logan, a healthy 37-year-old, suffered a stroke out of nowhere, our world was turned upside down in an instant. The hardest decision I've ever faced came next. To be by my husband's side or care for our daughter. Thankfully, my mom and grandma stepped in from Oakley so I could pour my heart into helping Logan in ways only I could. Logan spent over a month intubated and without access to therapists during that time. It was up to me to step in and do what I could to help. Luckily, I'm a physical therapist and quickly went to work at his bedside using everything I knew, neuro rehab basics, ortho PT principles, and sheer determination. I would help him sometimes for 8+ hours a day during the first month or so to keep his body moving. We know because movement is life.
Mm-hmm.
Maintain his strength and preserve his mobility. When he transitioned to inpatient rehab, I kept helping by bridging the neuro rehab gap and would help him with strength training, functional exercise, and even BFR. I'm not sure what BFR is.
I don't know either.
I'll have to look that up to give him every possible edge. We are exactly 3.5 months into recovery. That could take a year or more, but Logan is already showing incredible progress and is exceeding
Blood flow restriction therapy.
everyone's expectations, and we're not slowing down. His unwavering determination to regain 100% function inspires me daily.
And our sweet daughter Oakley is the best medicine.
Yep.
And motivation. This journey isn't easy, and it's long from over, but love, resilience, and faith will keep driving us forward.
Yep.
And I will continue to do whatever it takes to help my husband and my family. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so watch that video, because man,
yeah, because at the
how
beginning
inspiring.
he really looks like there's no hope. I mean, he looks
100%.
he looks like he's not even there.
Yeah.
There's no life in his eyes.
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, you see him.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys watch the video
But
yourself.
how many times do people stop short inches before the finish line?
Mm-hmm.
Right? We listen to all that
negative
talk.
Most often we stop.
Yeah. And we're listening to the diagnosis, and we're listening to the prognosis, and we're listening to, stop listening to that. Even if that is the diagnosis, it doesn't have to be the reality.
Yeah.
Like, no one gets to say you get to participate. And could the outcome still be a terrible prognosis? Could that be the end?
Yeah.
Maybe. But I will never live life thinking that I didn't give it 150%.
Because then you don't have any regrets.
Yeah, no
a
what
lot
ifs.
of times the pain of regret is worse than the pain of the activity you're going to have to go through.
Yeah. See, I thought I was not going to cry, and then this last one got me. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know why you thought you were going to cry.
I don't know either.
Have you ever not cried?
I've been crying for 2 weeks straight. Every time I see a clip, every time I talk to someone, talking with our team. So, yeah. I'm a very emotional creature.
Well, and the last thing I think you really should do if you're grieving this process is pick up your Bible. Just open it up and start reading.
Yeah.
And find out what this thing's all about that's got millions of people peacefully mourning and honoring this one great man.
Yeah.
He's a big loss. Just like it was a huge loss when Martin Luther King was assassinated at age 39.
100%.
Or when Robert F. Kennedy was assassinated, or when JFK was taken out.
Yeah.
And, God used to be a big part of the administration.
It's what our country was founded on.
Abraham Lincoln was president for 39 months. And 49 months. He was president for 49 months, like 4 years and a month before he was shot in the head.
Yeah.
And multiple times, I think 6 times, he declared a day of fasting and prayer before he would make a big decision for the country.
It's huge.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And, George Washington's first act as president, right after inauguration, was to go to church and pray.
It's awesome.
On Inauguration Day, after the ceremony, he could go to a party. He could go to a ball and dance. Right. he went to church to pray,
Right.
asking God, how should I lead this country? And his journals are pretty amazing. His prayers are all written in journals.
That's so cool.
And do you know that Ronald Reagan was a big believer too?
Yeah.
I met a guy named Dan Quiggle. Dan Quiggle worked for the Reagan administration and for the Reagan family after the presidency, and stayed by Nancy Reagan's side after Ronald Reagan had passed away as well. Just served the family. And he wrote a book called Lead Like Reagan. He was at our Vistage meeting
Oh, that's cool.
to talk to us. He spoke for 4 hours, giving leadership stories or lessons, but he told a story. He said Ronald Reagan had this group of women who would read every letter that got sent to him.
That's so cool.
And he told the women, if a letter comes to you and you think it's important, you come interrupt me. So apparently there's this time he was in the Oval Office. Dan Quiggle was telling the story. It was a good book, by the way, if you guys want to pick it up. Dan Quiggle, Lead Like Reagan. He said Ronald Reagan was in Oval Office, probably in a meeting, an important meeting, I'd assume. Presidents don't have meetings
Right.
that aren't important. And one of the women came over and said, you should see this, and handed him a piece of paper. He read it. He excused himself. He went to another office. He picked up the phone, and he called. He said, can I talk to Billy? He said, this is Ronald Reagan. Can I talk to Billy? And they hung up on him. So he called back. He goes, don't hang up. This really is the president. I got Billy's letter. He wrote me a letter.
That's so
I
funny.
want to talk to him. So little Billy gets on the phone, and Reagan said, Billy, I got your letter. I read it. I called to pray with you. But before we pray, I want to know, do you believe God can heal you? That's a great president right there.
That's a great president. Yeah.
We haven't seen that kind of faith or belief or conviction in God and the higher power and the Almighty
In a long
until
time.
now.
Yeah.
Thanks to Charlie.
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't know if it would have happened if this assassin hadn't taken him out. It would have, but maybe longer. It would have been taken longer. Literally accelerated everything
Yeah.
to be where it is today. So I
There's
think
a reason for that. We don't know what it
if-
is yet.
If you're mourning, if you're grieving, if you wish you had gotten to know Charlie better, you could meet him in heaven. Right? So you can meet him in heaven, read the Bible, find a nice Bible-believing church, give your life to Christ, just devote yourself to serving the Lord, and you'll meet him in heaven.
Yeah.
Just like the rest of us.
Ooh.
I don't know what more I can say.
Well, and if you need prayer, you can also message us. So
We'll pray with you.
that's right.
Absolutely.
Ah. I was never going to make it through this, was I?
Nope.
Not without tears. Oh. All right. Well, maybe next episode will be a dry one.
You know what we have to talk about is the press conference.
Yes.
There was a press conference 2 days ago. Now, by the time you hear this, it'll be a week out probably, but where the administration talked about how they found the cause for autism in children and why that number has increased so much and how devastating it is and a possible cure. So maybe we'll report on that on the next podcast. So please join us.
Yes.
And until then, bless you and take
Stay
good care of
strong.
your bodies and share the podcast.
Thanks so
That'll
much.
make you healthier if you share the podcast.
Thanks for laughing with us.
Yeah.
That'll make you healthier.
For sure. For sure.
All right. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
Live radio, local podcasts, the Frederick Podcast Network at listenfrederick.com.